Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Shri Jagannath ki
Jai.
Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me.
Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me.
Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me. You know the meaning? Jagannath. Jagannath means the Lord of the universe. Please be visible to me. We thought about saying something about Lord Jagannath because Ratha Yatra is going on now. It's one of the major religious festivals in the world. Quite a few million of people can gather in that road. And right now, Lord Jagannath is in Gudicha. So we're going to try to explain Ratha Yatra and some details connected before and during and after the Gaudiya Vaishnava perspective, because there are many perspectives about the Jagannath and the festival of Ratha Yatra, many different beliefs, many different traditions connected with that, and not all, most of them are authentic. They are based on some historical tradition, but we have also our take. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas have our understanding of this festival and understanding of this particular form of Lord Jagannath. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we introduce us to Lord Jagannath. So Lord Jagannath, Baladeva, Subhadra, these are very well-known deities all over the world, and everybody knows them, and many of you have in your homes, and everybody is somehow attracted by these special features of the Lord. Very unique, right? Very unique, but very fascinating at the same time. Why these forms? Okay, maybe we'll have time to explain that. Srila Prabhupada, let's say a prayer to Srila Prabhupada first. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prasarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatade Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpatarubhyascha, Sindhubhyayevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hope you are all comfortable, and from where you are, you can see the screen without breaking your necks. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada himself visited Jagannath Puri, visit the temple of Lord Jagannath in Jagannath Puri before going to America. After going to America and bring back to India some of his disciples, Srila Prabhupada went to Jagannath Puri. He was allowed to enter, but not his Western disciples. He said, but why? They are also Vaishnavas. They are practicing the same thing as you. They also worship Lord Jagannath. Why they are not allowed? Well, is the rule, is the tradition. Westerns cannot come. He spoke with the management, saying, no, we cannot break the rules. So Srila Prabhupada from that day on, he decided that he would not enter. in Jagannath temple since his disciples, who were also worshippers of Lord Jagannath, were not allowed to enter. And Srila Prabhupada organized many festivals all over the world, many Ratha Yatra festivals, and we still have. Every year in major cities in the world we have Ratha Yatra festivals. Not as big as the one happening now in Jagannath Puri, because this is many thousands of years going on, tradition, so very powerful, many people come. But we have wonderful festivals in New York, in Washington DC, San Francisco, in London, not so long ago we had. So in Paris we also had. Many great cities in the world we have the festival of Ratha Yatra. And Srila Prabhupada always participate in these festivals with great enthusiasm, danced in great ecstasy. But yes, certainly the one in Puri is the most outstanding, and the oldest in the tradition. But this is Jagannath in Jagannath Puri is immense. The deity of Lord Jagannath is immense. They say there's more than 500 kg. Very heavy, very, very heavy. So there are some certain incidents that happen before the Ratha Yatra that I would like to mention. Maybe some of you already know them, already heard them, but it's always to hear again, right? Everything about the Lord is always fresh and very, very blissful. So there is a festival that is called Nava Kalevara. Nava Kalevara, Nava means new, Kalevara means new body. So it happens every year. Every year the deities before Ratha Yatra, they are either repainted, fresh, or they are replaced by new ones. So it's not every year they are replaced. It's on a particular Purushottama month that happens between June and July. So it happens maybe every 15 years or every 19 years according to the position of the sun and the moon. So we cannot ascertain. The last one was 2017. They don't know exactly when will be the next, when the Purushottama month falls in the middle of June and July. Then at that time they change the deity, they carve a new deity. So the whole process of carving a new deity is a very, very intricate and very traditional, and follow many very delicate procedure. It's not just go to the forest, grab a piece of wood and carve, and here we have a new Jagannath deity. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's a big procession. Going out from the temple of Lord Jagannath is a big procession. Some priests and some carpenters, choppers, they go in procession to the forest of Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath possesses perhaps the hugest forest in India. Belong to the Lord. It's property of Lord Jagannath. Very, very big. So they go look for the trees to be cut down and to be used to carve deities. These trees, they are not ordinary trees. They are trees that are waiting for the devotees to come and cut them down and carve them. So this is Daru Brahman. Is wood, is Brahman in the form of wood, in the form of trees. So it's very special. So the first thing they do, when they arrive in the forest, they go to see the temple of Mangala. Mangala is another form of Durga Devi in Kakatpur, in Orissa, not too far from Jagannath Puri. And they go there, offer a ceremony to the deity and ask for her blessings. And they request the blessings of Mangala deity so they can they can find the right trees to carve the deities. So after offering this particular ceremony, they spend the night there, the rest there, and during the night, Mangala Devi appears in a dream of the head priest to indicate him where to go to find the trees. It's very mystical. So the priest in the morning has that revelation, and he knows exactly what they should go, where they should go to find the tree to carve Sudarshan Chakra, and the wood, the tree to carve Subhadra Devi, the tree to carve Baladeva, and the tree to carve Lord Jagannath. It's not the same chakra, not the same tree for all the deities. Each tree has a particular, for each deity there is a particular tree waiting to be cut down and be taken to be carved. Here you can read, you can check some of the characteristics of those trees, what they are expected to find. For the deity of Lord Jagannath, the tree has 4 principal branches. This we are talking about neem trees, not ordinary trees, neem trees. The color of the bark should be dark. For Lord Jagannath is dark, right? And then some markings. Must have a natural impressions of Shanka, the conch and chakra, that is, be near a cremation ground, and the anthill, a snake hole, and at its roots, a river or 3-way junction and a Shiva temple nearby. So this is where should be located the tree to carve Lord Jagannath. It's not just any tree, as we said before. So this has the characteristic, the divine marks and the surroundings for the tree to carve Lord Jagannath. For Lord Balabhadra, Baladeva, they have 7 branches, main branches. The color should be light brown or white, must have marks of a plow, a pestle to grind the spices, and be located in a heritage site or a graveyard. And then for Subhadra, the tree has 5 branches. Bark color should be yellowish. It must bear the mark of a lotus flower somewhere in the trunk. You have to find that marking. And then Sudarshan Chakra has 3 branches, main branches. The color is reddish. It must have an impression of chakra with a small depression in the center. So this is not just any tree. Has to have these characteristics. I mean, the trees are there, waiting to be used. Very, very, very mystical. And then there's a ceremony, the ceremony to offer worship to those deities. They offer fire sacrifice. They apply sandalwood paste over the trees and as other aromatic substances. They offer puja, everything, like they offer to the Lord Himself, the same. Because these trees are no different from the deity what's going to come out from those trees. And then there is the fire sacrifice is also there. They perform our fire sacrifice and purificatory rituals. Offer the garland. Garland they bring from the Mangala deity temple. They bring a garland to offer to the tree. It's prepared for the tree. And then is the cutting. The cutting is done with a golden axe. Is the first cutting. Then it goes a silver axe. And then they finish to cut down with an iron axe. Then when the tree falls down. So they don't need the whole tree to carve Lord Jagannath. They only use 2.5 meters for Lord Jagannath and Lord Baladeva, and smaller for Subhadra and Sudarshan. So they just cut as much as they needed, 2.5 meters. And what do they do with the rest? Not thrown away. Gathered together, and they are put in samadhi. The place where the rest of the tree is going to be buried becomes a sacred place. See? Because they respect the tree as being a manifestation of Brahman. And then they, after more ceremonies, they take all these big chunks that they need to do. They enrobe them with silk cloth very nicely, so nobody beside these people who participate in a ceremony of cutting down the trees, nobody should see the logs. So they are covered, wrapped with silk cloth, and carried in procession. And it's a huge procession, almost like a Ratha Yatra, just smaller in shape. You know, the kirtans are there, and one chariot after another. They accompany the logs to the temple of Lord Jagannath. This happens, see, the festival is now end of July, right? We are in July, right?
Yes.
End of July. The trees were cut down in March, April. So it's only 4 months. 4 months before the carving. So you may wonder, how are they going to dry to be carved? Usually when you carve any statue on wood, you have to dry at least for 1 or 2 years, right? They don't. 4 months only, and they carve on those pieces of wood. Because neem has oil inside. It's not like a common tree. So, and they are carved, and then they're going to dry naturally when they are already in a dative form without shrinking. Without shrinking. They just dry. Dry. They never completely dry because it's oil inside, right? Neem has oil. So very, very special. And they say it's easier to carve because neem can be very hard. But it's carved before, it's very easy for them to carve, to do the work. So that all the logs covered up, they go to a place that is called Koili Vaikuntha. It's a garden. It's a garden in a compound of the temple of Lord Jagannath. This is samadhis of the previous deities. They were buried here. All the previous deities that they were replaced, they are buried in this place. So here they make like a camp, and they construct they have a temporary construction that is closed very nicely with the door, and is open on the ceiling. Means there's no ceiling. It's open to the sky. The doors, very strong doors, are closed, and nobody can enter there besides the carpenters, the carvers. A few of them, supposed to be in a lineage that come from the original carver, Vishwakarma. Can you imagine? 5,000 years before, when Lord Brahma installed the first deity here on this planet, 5,000 years before. So they say they are descendants, the same lineage of them. This is their service. Their service is, they are not carving, they are offering a service of the Lord, chipping so the Lord can manifest himself in the wood. So they are closed doors. Even the head priest of the temple of Jagannath, who is a very important personality, is not allowed. Is not allowed to enter in this place. Only the carvers are allowed. And they are not allowed to leave the compound of the temple until they finish the job. They sleep inside this area, and they take only Jagannath Prasad, and they cannot go outside until finish the work. Usually the work is finished in 14 days. And you're going to see why 14 days afterwards. So the carving is done by very special carvers, that it's their service. Every time there is a new change of bodies, the same is either the same or descendants of the previous ones. And then there is something even more mystical. Very, very, very mystical. The most senior Brahmana carver that is in charge of the carving is gonna take something from the old deity of Lord Jagannath and put inside the new deity of the Lord Jagannath. His eyes are covered, and his hands is bandaged with silk, so he cannot feel with his hands, and he cannot see with his eyes. And he takes something they call the Brahma Padartha. It's like the soul of the deity. They take from the old deity, and they put in a new deity. Nobody has ever seen, nobody has ever felt it. But they do this ceremony every time there's the change of body. Only one person does that. Only one person in that room. This person is so old that 2 or 3 days later, he goes. It's his last service, is to do this. Very old Brahman. So this is extremely mystical. Nobody so far, we can hear only speculations. Or maybe it's Jagannath Shila, Shalagram Shila, that moved from one deity to another, something. They don't know exactly what it is. But they say it's a life force. The life force of the old deity goes into the new deity. And the old deity is considered dead. So it's going to be buried on the grounds of that garden we saw before. So this, as we said, happens during the 14 days that begin with the Kṛṣṇa Yatra. Kṛṣṇa Yatra was 15 days before Ratha Yatra, where the deities are based. This is a ceremony that happens every year. First, Lord Jagannath gets married. It's his first marriage. Is with marriage with the Rukmini Devi, who is original Lakshmi Devi. So there's a big ceremony. It goes, all happen inside. It's very intimate. There's a nice ceremony of marriage and everything. And then shortly after the marriage, there's the Kṛṣṇa Yatra. There's the basing of the deities. So the basing of the deities usually is done in a courtyard, not inside the temple. The deities are moved out to the courtyard to a special pandal, and there they prepare for the basing. They apply all different oils and fragrant substances, and then they are bathed with 108 huge copper pots of water that is coming from a well that gives water only for the Kṛṣṇa Yatra, no other purpose. So 108 pots, so means 35 for Jagannath, 33 for Baladeva, 20 something for Subhadra, and something for, scale like that. So altogether 108. It's a lot of water. It's summertime. It's very hot. In India at that time, in Jagannath Puri, is very hot. The water from the wells are cool, usually 4 degrees. So it's a big change of temperature. And because of that, Lord Jagannath catches a cold. So every year he catches a cold. That's the pastime that has to happen. So he can go to Sri Jagannath. So this is something that happens. So now for 14 days, the deities are not going to be visible. Give darshan at 21. It's the only period in a year that devotees cannot have the darshan of Lord Jagannath. 14 days in a year. Otherwise, the deities of Lord Jagannath, as I heard, they can give darshan something like 20 hours a day. 18 to 20 hours a day, it's open to the public. All year long. During these 14 days, nobody can see the deities. They are supposed to be in a recovering room because they caught a cold. That's the period, 14 days, that they use to change the body. It is the period for changing the body. If it's just, if it's not the period to change the body, then they redo the painting, the new painting. The new painting is done not directly on the body of the Lord, not directly on the body of the deity. There's a layer of silk covering the whole body of Lord Jagannath, and the painting done with colorful minerals is done usually using the fingers or brushes, mostly with the fingers. They paint the deities on that very thin cover layer of silk. So the deities are very beautiful painting, fresh painting, and then after 14 days they become visible. So what happened in the pastime of catching a cold and going to the retiring room, the recovering room? So Jagannath goes to his room, small room, behind the, the deity room, and Lakshmi Devi, Rukmini, accompanies the Lord, is her husband, they just got married recently, accompanies him and takes care of him, all minimal detail, cooks special vegetables, boiled vegetables, everything that is needed, for the Lord to recover from a cold naturally. You all know those things, no? Usually a cold in 14 days goes away. If you just take the proper food, drink lots of liquids, the cold goes away. So Lakshmi, Rukmini Devi, she's at the service of the Lord 24 hours a day. She does not sleep. Just to take a very devoted wife. She wants the husband to recover well, because everybody is waiting to have his darshan. So she's taking very nice care. After the 14 days, she collapses. You cannot blame her, right? After 14 days of being awakened, at the menial service of the Lord, she is totally exhausted. She collapses. And as she collapses, Jagannath unties his dhoti from her sari, because when they are recent married, they are connected, for some time. Disconnect and walk outside of the recovering room. He's already okay. And he's going to, who is waiting for him? The chariots are already there, all the chariots, and the chariots are pulled by the devotees from Vrindavan. These are the devotees who want to bring Lord Jagannath back to Vrindavan. The temple of Jagannath Puri represents Kurukshetra. There was something that happened 5,000 years ago in Kurukshetra during a particular solar eclipse. After being separated, the Lord had left Vrindavan 50 years earlier to go to Mathura and then to Dwarka, where he married with many queens, and never went back to Vrindavan to see his devotees from his childhood until he was 12, 14 years old. The devotees were so attached to him. The parents, his boyfriends, the girlfriends, they would have so much devotion for him, so much affection for him, and he had so much affection for them. But going to Dwarka just happened that being a prince and protecting others, so many ladies wanted to marry him. Some, they were in difficult situations, so the only person who could accept him was the Lord. So he married many queens, many queens. So he became a very responsible husband. So he had the desire to go back to Vrindavan, to that natural setting in the forest, taking care of the cows and playing with his friends. But at the same time, he had his responsibility in Dwarka, his family. And his family was growing, so many children, grandchildren. So for more than 50 years, they did not meet. The gopis and the gopas and the parents, everybody in Vrindavan, their hearts were feeling so much separation from the Lord. And the Lord in Dwarka feeling so much separation from those devotees in Vrindavan, but they did not have opportunity to meet. It just did not happen. The desire in the heart was there, but the circumstances were not favorable. Until eventually, because of this solar eclipse, Kṛṣṇa decides from Dwarka to go to Kurukshetra, to spend the solar eclipse in a very holy place like Kurukshetra. And the inhabitants of Vrindavan had the same idea, to go to Kurukshetra on that same occasion. So they met. they met there after a long period of separation. So their hearts, what you say, when there is really love, really affection, separation makes the heart grow fonder, means you become more attached, makes the heart become more attached, more affectionate to the person, if there is real affection, real love. So their affection for Krishna had not diminished, had increased. The same, Krishna for them, and his affection had not diminished. So then when they met in Kurukshetra. And he arranged, Krishna arranged to have a private meeting with the gopis, so they could be together in the evening in a particular forest near Kurukshetra. And they were seeing Krishna, and Krishna was seeing them. But the atmosphere was not the same. There was no Yamuna river there, no Govardhana hill, and Krishna was not wearing a peacock feather, was the crown, and had shoes. In Vrindavan, no shoes. It looked so different, It was the same Krishna, and they were the same gopis, but the situation, the environment was not so favorable. So they desired to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan, to that setting where they knew each other since a long time. So that's the reason of Ratha Yatra, bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. So Krishna, when had the opportunity to leave the retired room in Jagannath Puri, in the temple, the gopis, they were all waiting for him, to bring him on a chariot and bring him to Gundicha. That's what he is now. He's in Gundicha. Gundicha represents Vrindavan. That's Vrindavan. So he goes to Vrindavan with the inhabitants of Vrindavan, is with them. It's an ecstasy because it's a loving relationship that is very spontaneous, does not depend on his majesty, they don't care to know that he is the Supreme Lord. They just love him because of what he is. So they are there, and Lakshmi Devi, after 3 days that he left, she wakes up. She slept for 3 days. She was so tired after 14 days of serving the husband. After 3 days she woke up, looked around, where's my husband? And he starts asking the servant, where's Jagannath? Where's Jagannath? Nobody wants to say. They know, but they don't want to say. Until she becomes angry and somebody reveals, they came, they got him, they put in the chariot, they bring to Vrindavan. She said, no, how can he do so? We just got married, how can he do such a thing? I served him all this time and he does this to me. She's totally devastated. She closed herself in a room and he doesn't want to eat anything, doesn't want to see anything for 1 day. The next day she comes out, storming. He says, no, I have to find a solution to this problem. This is unfair. She goes to Baladeva. You all know, those of you who visit Jagannath, there is a Jagannath temple and there is Baladeva. There's also a big temple. So Baladeva is Durga. So he goes to see Baladeva. Bimala, she's more experienced. She has been married to Lord Shiva since long. So there's more experience as a wife. So he goes to ask advice. See what happened. I served him so nicely. I was there for any minimum need he had. I didn't sleep, I didn't do, and he went away and he took Subhadra, took Baladeva. Why didn't he take me? I'm his wife. This is not fair, this is not proper. And Mangala kind of say, oh, you know how the husbands are, You serve them, but they take it for granted. They think they're right, He gave a talk, to try to pacify her. And he gave her a small cloth bag with a powder and said, there's some magic powder here. This will restore the intelligence of your husband. Take with you. So Lakshmi decides to go looking for a husband. They carry her on a palanquin, so they have a yatra. Many of her servants going, This is Lakshmi Ratha Yatra, going to Gundicha to find Lord Jagannath. They arrive, the chariots are there, they see the chariots are there outside of the temple. She harasses the servants of Lord Jagannath. She's angry, she's very disturbed. She finally goes inside the temple. Lord Jagannath is sitting there. Baladeva, Subhadra. Jagannath is quite nervous. Huh?
Can't hear you.
Not? Haribo.
Voice is
He's
up.
gone.
Yeah,
He's gone. Paul is gone. But everybody can hear, no? It's just for the devotees here, right? Is anybody needs
It's getting
outside?
recorded.
For outside there
It's
is
getting
a
recorded.
transmitter, I think.
yeah. They're on the YouTube,
Try again.
Facebook as well.
It's getting recorded.
You need for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one.
Yes.
This one is working.
Yes.
This one is
Only,
okay.
only
Yeah,
the
only this
microphone
one.
for the
But do we have
devotees.
another one? Charge? Yeah.
Try this one.
Need the
The
battery in the
battery's off
microphone.
now. This one probably is working.
Yeah.
Battery might be off now.
So we take this and put in that one.
Recording for the temple and for the Facebook.
And then put this here, okay? Right? Okay. Haribo. So, Jagannath is sitting there, and Lakshmi goes inside. She does not say a word. She just go there to see. Hera. Hera means to see. To see. Just go there to see what is happening there. He sees Lord Jagannath, he goes in front of him, he looks at him, she does not say a word, does not say anything. She takes the bag with that special powder that Baladeva gave him. She opens, blows that powder into the face of Lord Jagannath. She closes the bag, she turns her back, walks out, not saying a word. Walks outside and she sees the attendants of Lord Jagannath, and he mentioned to them, you tell your master that his wife is waiting for him in the palace. That's what he said. And she left. Procession, they brought her back to the temple. So Lord Jagannath receives the message from the attendant, and he does not decide immediately to leave. That's why he's not leaving right immediately after Era Panchami. Maybe he stays 1 or 2 days more until move out and go back to the temple. But it's not settled. His mind is not settled because his wife is not happy. It's marriage. It's his duty, right? Marriage, that's something sometimes we forget. Marriage is about duties. It's not about rights. We don't have any right in marriage. We only have duties. Wife have duties, husband have duties. It's the exchange of duties, nothing more. Nobody has any rights. If you go into a marriage thinking that you have any right, it's a failure. You're going to fail in your marriage. Nobody has any rights. Actually, in this life, we don't have any rights. Kṛṣṇa says you have the right to perform your duty, but you don't have the right to enjoy the results of your work. Right? You don't have any rights. You have only duties. So Lord Jagannath is feeling nervous. So finally he decides to go. That's why this festival, Era Panchami, is also called Lakshmi Vijaya, is the victory of Lakshmi, because she conquers Jagannath. It's a duty, right? So Jagannath goes. That's what happened in 2 days probably. Is the tomorrow Era Panchami, maybe 2 days after, there is a Bauda Yatra, where the chariot goes back to the temple of Jagannath. This festival is not observed by Gaudiya Vaishnavas because it's not good. They failed. They failed to keep Krishna in Vrindavan, right? And so they don't follow this procession. Other people follow, but Gaudiya Vaishnavas don't follow this procession because the Lord is going back to Dwarka, means separation again. So Lord Jagannath goes, Baladeva and Subhadra as usual. They go back, take maybe 1 or 2 days. This is shorter, this one is shorter. Goes and so Subhadra goes first. No, Baladeva goes first, enters. Then Subhadra enters. And then Jagannath is about to enter the temple. Boom! The doors are closed at his nose. He cannot go in. What happened? Now, Jagannath is alone, outside, cannot enter the palace. So, there are some exchanges of messages. And usually it's the king, go in between to send message back and forth. So Jagannath is saying, sorry, I did wrong, I should not have done what I did, I really apologize, please forgive me. And Lakshmi responds, yeah, but you should have been more considerate, this was not proper. So there's some exchanges of message, and the king is the one who brings the message back and forth. So eventually, it's not coming to any conclusion. She's not opening the temple. So Jagannath knows Lakshmi likes rasgulla. So he sent a good box of rasgullas to. So you see, Lakshmi Rukmini is a little pacified with the rasgullas, and she does not open the door for Lord Jagannath to enter. She comes out. She comes. Oh, he sends also an elephant to very, very beautiful decorated, offers an elephant to Lakshmi. So he's expecting Lakshmi comes riding an elephant to give her a sense of superiority and opulence. But she does not ride the elephant. She's carried a palanquin. She comes in front of him and she's expecting, okay, now it's settled, we are in good terms. She does not say a word. She circumambulates him 3 times. She goes back to the temple. He follows. She enters. The doors close. He cannot go. So again more message and they try to reconciliate. Finally Lord Jagannath is allowed to enter. He's allowed to enter, and then that's when he shows his Kṛṣṇa Vesha, opulence, with golden hands, golden feet, golden ornaments. They said amongst the 3 deities had more than 200 kilos of gold, massive gold. So the deities are very opulent dressed. This is very attractive to Lakshmi Devi, right? She's opulence, personification of opulence. So finally they get together. So that's the end of the whole festival. They get back together, and the devotees of Vrindavan, they have to remain attached to the Lord in separation. That's the festival of Ratha Yatra. So these deities, many of you know why the deities have this particular form. You know that?
Partially, not fully.
Not fully. Anybody knows about the particular pastime? Go, tell. That happens in? Tell.
It's basically to do with the king Indradyumna, who, I think he had gone to, it's a very long story. I don't know where to begin from, but I know that the main point is that they wanted to build a grand temple with a grand deity, and Vishwakarma comes in disguise, and he tells them that, the temple that I'm going to build over here, the doors should be closed and nobody should disturb me, come what may, So I think it was for 7 days, if I'm not mistaken.
14 days.
14
right,
days. So in the beginning, the king was patient, but then somehow after 2 days, when noise, yeah. So he got impatient and he opened the door, and that's what they said that this is.
But yes, that's the story. But why the deities show this form?
Because Kṛṣṇa is going to see the Vrindavan, and see the many old friends, and eyes become like a
Yeah.
Because they were telling a
Close.
story inside.
Close.
Vrindavan story inside.
Yeah.
And then suddenly Krishna and Balaram come and they heard the story, so they were very astonished with the story.
Yeah, that's a more common story. It happens in Dwarka, in Rukmini's palace. Rohini, Mother Rohini has just come back from Vrindavan. She is Balarama's mother. She goes often to Vrindavan. She came from Vrindavan and she's telling the queens are all gathered there and they wanted to know, how was your trip? Or how are the devotees? Because they know, the queens, they know that the devotees in Vrindavan are very dear to Lord Krishna. And they want to know what's special about their devotion. So she's relating what they are doing in their separation from Krishna, how they are suffering, but they have so much love for him, there's so much affection. They are, repeating the same pastimes again, as whatever happened before, as if Krishna was there always present. And they are talking with closed doors. And there is Subhadra is walking the whole way and hears somebody speaking behind the doors, and she goes very near and starts hearing all these things. And as she hears, eyes become dilated, meaning Subhadra, the eyes become very big, and the hands are retracted. So then was Baladeva. Baladeva came and he saw his sister there like that, and he also started hearing, and the same happened to him. And the last was Jagannath. Jagannath began. So this is the ecstatic form of the Lord after hearing, just hearing about the love, the intensity of the love of the inhabitants of Vrindavan for Krishna. So even though they are the wives and they take very nice care of Krishna and they offer so much devotion, they know that the inhabitants of Vrindavan, their love is much more intense. Because even though he's separated from them, they never forget him. And they are very fascinated to hear about their intensity of their love. So this is the ecstatic form of the Lord. It's such an excellent. There's another incident, but this is the major story that we know. There is also something very special about the construction of the chariots. The chariots are built up every year. You should think, or you may think, you can reuse for the next year. There's no reusing for the next year. New chariots are built every year. And these are gigantic chariots. All worked out by hand. There's no saws, no mechanical saws like we have now. There's no hammers, no nails. Everything is made by wood. Only in certain parts, very delicate parts, they use some metals to reinforce. Only in very, very few parts of the construction. The wheels and the chariot is all assembled. Is done so nicely because these people, from childhood, they learn from their parents, who learn from their own parents, since generations, the same as the carvers. This comes from long-time generations, a parampara, disciplic succession. So the same people who learn from their parents who do this thing. The wood is also chosen very carefully from the forest, not the same intricate ritual as finding the deities, but the wood is very special. But this wood is there, laid down in the ground there for 1 year. They let it dry for 1 year before they construct the chariot. See, they have the structure. The first thing they do is the wheels. Like Lord Jagannath has 16 wheels. This is Balarama, 14 wheels. Huh? If you count, it's 14 wheels. It's for the chariot of Balaram, and Subhadra, I think, is 10 wheels, the smaller chariot. So these wheels are the size of a man. They are big wheels, and not just little construction. The whole chariot can sometimes go, but Jagannath is 13 meters high with the canopy, with all the whole thing, complete, very, very high. These are massive, massive constructions, all assembled. No nails, no screws. Amazing. And then after Ratha Yatra, everything is assembled, and that wood is used in the kitchen for the cooking of Lord Jagannath. Yeah. So this is also the, even the ropes. The ropes are they're people, their devotees, their service is to do the ropes every year, special ropes. These are the ropes that everybody is eager to pull, to use, to pull Lord Jagannath. It's a special privilege to pull the chariot, you know. So this is also very, very, very special. The construction of the chariot is very, very special. Every year, a new chariot. So you can see it. The whole thing is very detailed, full of opulence, and lot of seva, lots of service from many devotees who do different parts of the thing. So it's a big thing. So this is the deity of Baladeva. The first deity comes out for the Ratha Yatra. Baladeva is also very big. You can see the faces of the man and the face of Baladeva. He's huge. He's really huge. Baladeva, more or less, they can carry. They can carry. Quite a few men they can carry. I think 12 people can carry the deity. Jagannatha they cannot carry. Subhadra they can carry. Yeah? Lay down. She's relatively small, even though you can see her face compared with the bodies of the people, you know. But Jagannath is really heavy. Really heavy. So they cannot hold him. They cannot really hold him. So they bounce him back and forth until you gain a momentum, and then you move to the other. So there are pillows on the way until the chariot. So he goes from one pillow to another pillow, like that. Very difficult to carry him. About 500 kilos, but not really. He's huge. He's huge. Yeah, and the fast and the rats are amazing. How many of you have attended this festival?
Not the Rath Yatra, but being to Jagannath.
No, I'm sorry, the Ratha Yatra. How many of you? None of you. Hey! Well, I didn't attend either.
They say it's quite dangerous actually nowadays. They're saying it's dangerous. A lot of people, there are also a lot of deaths taking place.
There's one person, I mean, like there are millions of people, right?
Yeah,
so
that's
it's a
right.
question like
Yeah,
right?
every year there's some accident.
One person happened this time. It was not. I mean, anyone is bad, but the point is that it's not like as it is portrayed in the media. It's not like that. There was only one person who was critical, and
There's always some. They have a very good service to take immediate care of this, but there are always accidents because it's really a lot of people, and everybody wants to go near the chariot. There's no way to really. At one point, there's no way really to stop people. So it's dangerous in terms of really dangerous. But people, out of love for Lord Jagannath, they take risks. See, the chariots are gigantic, gigantic chariots. This is the most colorful, the most beautiful, and the most attended religious festival in the world. This is really amazing festival. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu participated every year when he was in Jagannath Puri. Every year he participated in the festival of Ratha Yatra. This was a very special occasion because all the devotees from Bengal and the different other parts of India, they would go to Jagannath Puri to attend the festival. And he himself, he would dance in front of the chariots all the time during the procession dance. This was the most ecstatic dancings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As many of you know, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Kṛṣṇa. But he's Kṛṣṇa in a very special mood. What is that mood? The mood of Radharani. He wants to experience that loving devotion that Radharani has for Kṛṣṇa. So here, is Krishna in the mood of Radharani, bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. Is Krishna, but the mood, the emotions are the emotions of Radharani. So that's why he's so ecstatic. Finally, after so long separation, we are bringing him back to Vrindavan. So you can imagine the emotions, the happiness, the jubilation in their hearts, the devotees. That's why when finally the journey goes back to, they don't follow. There's one record. They say Lord Chaitanya follows the return Ratha to the temple, but follows from behind. And he's crying, don't go, don't go, don't go. It's not a jubilant festival. So the devotees don't even want to speak about that. There's nothing wrong about his going to stay with Lakshmi Devi. That's okay. It's part of this different type of rasa he has. They don't have any grudge against the inhabitants of Vrindavan. They appreciate their loving devotion, but they love Krishna in a very, very simple, very natural way that is very unique. And we, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we want to invite that spirit of spontaneous, loving devotion to Krishna without considering his majestic position, just because he is a wonderful person and very, very loving person. So it's very special. 7:30, 1 hour, I did it. So nobody can complain that I went over time. Okay, we stop here. Thank you very much. I hope I said something that you maybe was the first time you heard.
Yes.
Not completely a repetition. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Jagannath Baladeva Subhadra Devi ki
Jai.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki
Jai.
Nitai ki Jai. Prabhupada ki
Jai.
His friend Krishna Baladeva Prabhu ki.
Jai.
It was a wonderful class during our Krishna Baladeva today, Prabhu. And can we say that people who are